Welcome back to Pole Barn Garage, where you may remember the most generic square body truck in existence that we did a few episodes ago. We've been using this truck. We were hauling some rock with it and stuff, and we've just been doing truck things with it. And unfortunately, after maybe 150 miles, this engine has fouled all the plugs that were fouled before. It's definitely got bad rings. It's just tired, and I need a quick solution to that, and I think I have one. It's a little out of the box though. Here's my solution. This is a late 80s Corvette TPI 350 that we put a carburetor on and got running and driving a couple of years ago. It's a really strong 350 with a really wore out and bad 700 R4. The car didn't have a title and it was pretty junk, so we made a go-kart out of it. Had some fun with it for a while, but really it's time for it to get out of here. I've really only kept it around because of this L98 small block. It's a one-piece rear main seal, aluminum-headed 350. They're no race engine, but boy, it'd probably run like $1 million in that truck. I think step one here is just get this thing in the shop. Pull that motor, clean it up, get it on a stand, check it out. Then Jess is going to be able to have a truck that she can actually drive around and not mosquito fog out everything everywhere. Everything I own is in the way of this car right now because I'm having another concrete pad put in. It's gonna take me a minute to play musical cars here. Easier to go forward than backwards. I haven't driven this thing in quite a while. This thing's probably sold by now, but if it hasn't, $2,500 at pbgdalton@gmail.com. I would just drive it in, but I robbed the distributor out of that engine to put in that truck. So we'll just tow it in and then push it in with the plow. My driver.
Check.
I'll be gentle. Yeah, you know, this thing is absolute garbage, but damn, it's handy. This is all fairly straightforward. Pretty much just remove everything off of this. We can't use any of the Corvette accessories. We'll have to rob all that stuff off of the truck's motor. We'll take my, custom induction system off. Probably the only good thing about a C4 Corvette is that he can just sit on the tire while you dismantle it. I don't want to hear any crying about what I'm doing or what I've done here. This car doesn't have a title. It's not worth getting one. If you want a C4 Corvette, they can be had for a couple grand pretty much anywhere with more Corvette left than this one. Don't need any of this nonsense. But I'll throw it all in the back for the future owner of this carcass, because I just threw it up for sale to my followers on Facebook and Instagram. $200 with the Boyd wheels or whatever they are. Hopefully somebody snags it up, because there is good stuff in this carcass yet. Oh shit. I barely pulled on that, just snapped in half. I'm sure they don't need that anyway. Right? Yeah. I think this is like a 120 amp alternator here. That's definitely worth keeping. Putting that in my stash for sure. Mine radiator is strange but good, and so we should keep it and hoard it. Yes, hoard it. Get these manifolds off, which are kind of like factory headers actually, and they look like they might fit in like other cars, so maybe we want to keep these around. I just realized that these heads are angled plugs, so hopefully when we go to put it in the truck with a set of headers, hopefully that doesn't bite me too bad. Might help, I don't know. Let's get the transmission disconnected. I'll be pulling the whole thing as one unit. I think that'll be easier. You'll have to cut that Y pipe, that's for sure. And unbolt the drive shaft, wherever that is. That's right. There's a brace that goes all the way from the rear suspension to the transmission. That's what supports the transmission. So I better jack up the back of the car and then we can unbolt that brace, because otherwise it's got a load on it, and I think that might end poorly. So here's our brace here. So these two bolts go through the tail housing. There's a nut on the top I might be able to get a wrench on. So we just take those out, and maybe when we pull the engine it'll just slip right out. Maybe. My buddy Ray is going to end up with this thing, and he may end up needing this drive shaft, so we'll try not to butcher it up. Okay, well, I got the U-joint straps unbolted. I don't think I can actually move the drive shaft forward yet, so I'm going to try to unbolt this support brace. Note to self, drain the car of all liquids, like standing water in the fiberglass. I haven't been rained on under a car very often. This sucks. I'm trying to get a wrench up here. Almost impossible. Goodness, that is a big bolt. It's an aluminum drive shaft. That's pretty cool. I gotta get this end of the brace unbolted, and then take out the motor mounts, and she should just come on out. Easy, right? Now let's find out all the things I forgot to unhook. There are probably many. I wondered about that lower pulley, if it would make it. It doesn't. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I just had to lean on it. It does appear to still be attached by the dehiculator right here. We all know what that is. Let me get something to remove it, and we will simply just disconnect the dehiculator. What the hell is this stuff? I don't know. Who cares? There we are. Ah, yes. More wires. How many wires do you need? That was relatively painless. I'm gonna throw that transmission on Marketplace right now for $100. See if we get someone to pick that up. Let's shove this pile out of here. Then we can put that up on a stand, clean it up, and just get it ready to go in that truck. I guess I'll drag it out with the plow truck. That seems like a pretty good spot to hook onto. This will be fine. Why is it doing that? A little unconventional, but it seemed to work. Let's get the 700 R4 off of here. We're just going to use the Turbo 400 that's in the truck because this thing's launched, and I don't really care if it has overdrive or not. We got one bonus, factory mini starter from the Corvette, and pretty sure it worked. Check that out. Aluminum inspection cover. Doesn't weigh hardly anything. That's super cool, and I'm keeping that. This is one of those tools that I recommend everybody have. I've had this thing forever. It's a flywheel turner. Very helpful if you're working by yourself. Way better than just shoving a screwdriver in between it and doing it a little at a time. You just grab onto the teeth, and then you can roll it a pretty good chunk every time. There we go. One piece rear main seal, aluminum headed small block. I gave $500 for the Corvette. I just sold the chassis for $200 to my buddy Ray, and I've got this transmission on Marketplace for $100. Even if someone gives me $50 for this, I got $250 in an aluminum headed small block. This is a pretty good deal. I'm just going to kind of strip off everything we don't need. Can't use the motor mounts. Oh, we got a problem, guys. I was just over here, and I noticed that this spark plug was not in all the way, and I could even see the crush washer. It was not sealed, and it has been cross-threaded into the hole by somebody. I never put plugs in this. It's not good. Shit. There might be enough left in there to try to put one in straight. It's not good on an aluminum cylinder head. Yeah, it's the only one. If I get a spark plug tap, we might get away with just tapping it. It's worked for me in the past. We're on a chase down here. I know we were supposed to do a lot of other things, but this is definitely taking priority. Seems like it's finding threads. That's good, and it looks straight. So we're just gonna very carefully work this in and out until we get enough threads for a plug. Inevitably, a little debris is gonna end up in that hole, and we're gonna minimize it as best we can, but it just kind of is what it is. Couple of turns, back it back out. I'm not gonna blow it out because it'll blow more debris into the hole. So if I just kind of scrape it out of there, it'll probably end up better for us. You guys know I hate optimism, but I think we might get away with this. She's going in nice and straight now. You know, this thing ran just fine. It didn't sound like it was down a hole. I guess it just didn't care. There's one bad spot on the very, very last thread. I got the chase all the way through. Here. The day is saved thanks to having the right tools on hand. Now, I can see the piston is actually nearly up. I don't want to move the engine, right? So just to help get any debris that's in there out, I'm just going to basically fill the cylinder up with brake clean and try to flush it back out. The straw to the brake clean just flew in there. Maybe that'll flush out. Today just keeps getting better. Oh, the cylinder walls look fantastic. Wow, like it really does look good. Lots of cross hatching left. Okay, well there's my brake clean I filled it with. Where's the straw? This thing's got flat tops in it. Alright. I really don't think the plastic straw would really hurt anything. Can I rotate it? Alright, here comes the brake clean. Drizzling out of there. Oh, big money, big money. Give me a straw. Help me out, please. Not a straw in sight. And I am going to open up the exhaust. Oh my god, I see it. I see it. I'm going to open up the exhaust valve. I'm going to try to blow some air in there maybe and try to blow it out the exhaust valve. Come on, little straw. Yep. There it is. Son of a bitch. It was pinched into the piston and I rolled it back, got it off of there, and then my borescope died. So we're going to fly blind for a minute here. I'm going to fill the cylinder with washer fluid because I figured that probably won't hurt anything. We'll try to float it out of there since the air didn't work. This is the kind of stuff that happens to everybody. Most channels won't show it, but I think it's important. Come on, straw. Come out of there. You're going to have to pardon the Coast to Coast AM in the background. Hopefully that doesn't ding me. I got it. I got a hold of it. Oh, I got it. God. Yes. Ah. Well, let's get the oil out of this thing so we can rotate it out. Man, I got to get one of them things that goes on the engine stand to catch oil. That oil looks really clean still, which is good. I mean, it's not like it's been driven a whole lot since we got that Corvette going, but it hasn't been driven easily, that's for sure. Well, let's spritz this thing up, hit her with the old super clean, and let that chew on it. I've already put valve cover gaskets and stuff on it when I did the intake, put the carburetor on, so I don't really think we need to mess with any of that. Sometimes it may become necessary to dual wield your super clean. Rub-a-dub-dub. Dalton's used cars. You can totally trust me. The brand new 350. If I clean up these heads real good, it's gonna look like, you know, shiny aluminum, and then people are going to look at it and be like, wow, that must be a high dollar motor. Well, I've made quite the mess out of myself, but the engine's a lot cleaner. That's good. I'm going to have to burn these pants too, I guess. Give that cooling system a flush. There it goes. Pretty icky. Yeah, that doesn't look the best. What if we give it a little Maytag spinning action? Yes. Yeah. That's getting all kinds of goodies out of it. Ah! Agitating. Agitating. Now for the spin cycle. Oh shit. I forgot that distributor was just sitting in it. Behold. Cleansed. That thing cleaned up pretty good. Let her drip dry overnight. We'll give her a nice coat of complete rebuild and throw some new plugs in it. Just kind of get it ready to go, and we should get that truck in here tomorrow. I've got a lot of stuff in the works right now. So tomorrow I got to do all kinds of running around to take care of that. It's all going to make sense. Just give me a couple of weeks on it, but you'll see. I share everything with you guys. Go to polebarmerch.com. Get you a hat, get you a shirt or a koozie or a sticker or something like that, you know. That would really help out right now. Again, all going to make a lot more sense very, very soon. If you need a cool shirt or hat, I would really appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow when we paint that thing. Just got that transmission sold for a crisp $100 bill. So that's money back in my pocket. Let's paint this thing up, then we'll pull the truck in. I just taped off everything aluminum, and we'll paint the valve covers cast iron gray and the block black. Could I remove the valve covers? Yes, but then I'd have to buy gaskets, and I don't want to do that. It looks pretty good. Let me get her unwrapped. We'll see the final result. It's amazing what 20 bucks and a little bit of time can do. That looks really sharp. I'm going to throw a set of plugs in it, then we'll push it out of the way and get the truck in. And I nearly forgot, I need to put a fuel pump push rod in here because this engine doesn't have one. And I would like to convert it to a mechanical pump. But first, spark plugs. We're going to go ahead and just put copper core auto lights in it, and it'll be just fine. And I'm going to be very, very, very mindful of this one hole in particular. There it goes. There it goes. I'm really glad I'm not doing this in a car. Here's where the fuel pump would go. It's got a block-off plate on it, so I bought one of these Mr. Gasket fuel pump plates. That's guaranteed to leak. Oh, there it goes. These engines are drilled for the push rod, which is good. Now, your later, like Vortec engines and such, they're not. So, that's just something you should keep in mind. This has never had a fuel pump push rod in it. Usually are very tight fitting. See how it doesn't fall out? Whenever they're first assembled, they put the fuel pump on and it hangs right there, no problem. It doesn't fall out. But you know, whenever they run and get used, that's where you run into the problems with Chevy fuel pumps, where you got to pack grease around it and shove it up in there. But they didn't have to do that when they first put it together at the factory. Bolted on with the two lower bolts. They just hold this in place. Then the fuel pump goes in the two big holes there. We need to rob the fuel pump off of that truck before we do that. Well, let's get this turd fired up and pulled in. 6 out of 8 cylinders of fury. Kinda. It runs real bad. That motor has 3 broken off exhaust manifold bolts, which means really the motor would need to come back out anyway, or at least a cylinder head. So this makes way cooler sense. Not more, cooler. That's the little 350 that we kind of pieced back together. And you know, I thought it was running decent, but it just isn't. And it was running pretty good there for a while, but man, it's something's wrong. And I think it needs a tear down. It's smoking. It must have been pretty well on its last legs. Let's get it out of there. Let me know if you want to see a tear down and rebuild of that thing at some point. This is you.
Oh, this is me.
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
Fomoco Power Garage.
I'm not used to someone else holding the camera up in front of me.
Right.
I usually do it myself.
You foolishly showed up and brought me some parts.
And ran over your mailbox.
Yeah, well, that's okay. As long as you help me pull the hood off of this thing real quick.
That's no problem. Let's do it.
You go onto the roof. Don't scratch the paint now. Hey, you just saved my back at least, I don't know, another 2-3 weeks without pain.
Oh, this hood was light. The one of that LTD was about 3 times the weight.
Well, this truck isn't built quite to the same level as the majestic LTD. Today's video is brought to you by Raycon. Raycon earbuds have a 32-hour battery life, multi-point connectivity, so you can connect to 2 devices at the same time. To me, most importantly, they have noise canceling, which means I get to ignore everybody in my life. And everything goes silent, and I can just be blissful and unaware. Raycon earbuds also come with lots of different tips for your ears to make them comfy. So whether you're Dumbo or a mouse or whatever, you know, I mean, they got something for you. If you're like me, you'll forget to charge them. Well, if you plug these things in for 10 minutes, you get 90 minutes of playtime out of them. Now, Raycon also has these really cool protective covers for your case. You know, I went with the space one because space is cool. Go to buyraycon.com/polebarn and you can save 20% off site-wide, including your earbuds. 20% off a set of Raycons. Use my link in the description. It's the pinned comment down below. buyraycon.com/polebarn and save 20%. This is all feeling very deja vu to me. Unhooking yet another small block Chevrolet. I'm going to start peeling the onion that is the small block, and we will try to get this thing extracted. Just to change things up a bit, I think I'll start underneath on this one. One handy thing is, I'm pretty sure I could just unbolt this intermediate drive shaft, and it should, theoretically, it'll have enough play that I can get it out of there. I had completely forgotten what a disgusting grease pit this is. I must have blacked that part out of my memory. There we go. Had to pull the caps off. That came right on out. And unbolt the transmission mount. Unbolt the transmission cross member. Cut the exhaust pipes off. I've got a new plan for that because this exhaust is, well, it ain't the best. Oh yeah, I forgot how stupid the cross members are in 2-wheel drive trucks. It's bolted to the frame, and then it's bolted to a bracket that's bolted to the frame up there. And then this side just wraps around the side. Given the fact that I'm going to have to be a gymnast to unbolt this cross member, I might as well get this exhaust out of my way first. Alright, got everything unbolted under the truck, kind of just swung out of the way. Got a lot more to do up here. I'm going to go ahead and pull the accessories off of this thing to make pulling it a little easier. I did find a brand new water pump I had on hand, so we can go ahead and put a water pump on our new engine. That'll be nice. And I noticed that this fan clutch is kind of it doesn't feel the best, so I better replace that while we're here. We get all these pulleys and stuff off. That way we can paint them and they'll be ready to go on the new one. We're just about ready to pluck that motor out. But before we do that, I'm going to put the distributor out of that motor into our new Corvette 350. So I better roll her over to top dead center. Put your finger in the hole. Bring her around. Theoretically, it will blow your finger off. There it is. There it is. I'm going to roll it until the timing mark lines up with 0, and we will foolishly assume that the balancer has not slipped. On a Chevy, rule of thumb, you point the rotor at the back left carb stud. That's actually not bad. We can verify that it is in the position we want by putting our cap on the distributor. Pretty close. Let's put our hold down on a little snug so it doesn't fall out, and now it's ready for install. Not quite as easy to get the stuff on this as it was on the Corvette with no front end. There we go. Let's play the game of what did I forget again. What a greasy pile. While this thing is dangling precariously here, I'll go ahead and break off the rest of these exhaust manifold bolts. Yep, and that's why I didn't try to do that in the truck. And in the interest of saving my back a little bit, I'll go ahead and pull the motor mounts off too. You know, you're not always going to have the ideal workspace to do stuff in, and between this truck and the engine and trans together, it's a little bit too big for my room here, but we'll make do. Quit rolling away. I swear to God, this cherry picker, it doesn't roll when I want it to, and it rolls wherever it wants to when I don't want it to. I don't even want to touch this freaking grease pit. Let's get it soaking, cleaned up, then we'll disconnect it from the engine. While we're at it, we may as well clean up the engine bay a little bit. I'm not going to go too crazy here, but you know, just make it a little bit nicer. Tom and Betty sent me some of this citrus-based degreaser, so we'll try that out. It's got some good range on it. I like that. Don't need this perfect, I just need it more tolerable. A little brush up ought to help with that. Also, look at this. See the freaking yoke? It has the bolt in it, but it's not actually bolted in. That's a no-no. You can't do that with a two-piece drive shaft. That'll cause you some vibrations for sure. Freaking orange citrusy degreaser, it works pretty good. This is about as gross as they come, and it's cutting it right off. Look at that! No scrubbing at all. It's pretty good. I did hit it with a little super clean too. That stuff's just running right off. Very cool. That's like brand new. Much better. Let's see what kind of engine this is and if it's something I even want to keep around. Casting numbers are right here. And she's a 100-66036. That means it's a good wrench motor. That's a brand new engine at some point. Interesting, very interesting. It's probably a Mexican-made good wrench motor, or Target Master, or whatever that other one was. Definitely worth rebuilding then. I should have done this while it was still in the truck. That would have made more sense. But let's get the torque converter unbolted and get it off of the engine. Fell right off. Now we just got to put that on that and figure out somewhere to stash this. It kind of makes you wonder, how did that thing go south so, well, maybe not quickly, but I don't know, it's a reman engine, or not even a reman, it's a brand new engine. Those good wrench motors were not remanned, they were new castings. I think it kind of goes back, remember the weird oil consumption it had, like spraying oil out of the fuel pump and that intake gasket being blown over here, sucking oil up the valley? And remember the 2 gallons of used motor oil that were in the bed? I think this was probably a decent running old truck until an idiot got a hold of it, can't fix anything, and just ran it into the ground and probably ruined a perfectly good engine. I forgot that I had an extra engine stand, so solves that problem. We'll get that on there and out of the way. Let's put some oil in our new engine. Corvette 350. I bought cheap oil this time, but I'm going to put some BFL, Performance Engine Oil Booster, in it. They've been out of business for years. This is not a sponsorship. Somebody a long time ago sent me a whole case of this stuff, and I still got like 3 cans left, so I may as well use it up. It's ZDDP additive, basically. Pretty sure this is still a flat tappet engine, but we'll play it on the safe side. We'll just fill her up with some 1040 cheapy oil. It'll like that just fine. I ought to at least spray bomb this engine bay, right? So let me dry it out. There we go. Somebody painted everything gray in here. They must have really liked it. I mean, everything is gray. The cross member, the accessories on the engine were gray. Somebody put some time into this, about the same amount of time I'm doing. You know, but I care about the truck. So somebody at one time cared about the truck. Let's give this Turbo 400 a once over. See this bolt in the back here? On truck and Corvette, well, C3 Corvette at least, the yoke is fixed into the transmission. There's no slip action. Otherwise, the transmission is exactly the same as a normal Turbo 400. There's just threaded in the end. Well, all of them are threaded in the end to accept a bolt-in yoke. Ford, Chrysler, they use a whole different tail shaft. So this is like one really nice thing is that's a short tail Turbo 400. You could bolt that right in a 70 Chevelle and it will fit. It's super cool. However, I'm not sure what they've really screwed up here. I notice this bolt seemed to be loose, but not. And it's flat on the end from getting smacked into the freaking drive shaft. It's supposed to be a 3/4. And I can't get a 3/4 on it, so I'll go to a 20 millimeter. Try to hammer that on. Let's get it out. Make sure the threads aren't screwed up, and they don't really seem to be. And I just put it back in. Yes. Okay, fixed. Great. There's one more thing I need to service on this, and it is the modulator valve. The modulator valve is kind of like a rudimentary throttle position sensor. It uses engine vacuum to pull on a diaphragm, and here magic happens, and that changes your line pressure according to how much throttle you're giving it, basically. And when they go bad, the transmission doesn't like to shift until it sees enough line pressure to shift, which is like a gazillion RPM. And that was a problem that we had with the truck that I haven't fixed yet, because I'm lazy. So we'll change it now while it's right in front of us. These B&M modulator valves are still made in the USA, if that matters to you. Now you got to be kind of quick when you pull that thing out of there, because when you do, it's going to erupt. Transmission fluid will flow like you've never seen it flow before. There it goes. And there we are. I told you got to be quick. One bolt. No TV cable to adjust, and then the transmission explodes because you didn't do it right. One bolt. Put it in. Done. Why they didn't continue to do that, baffles me. That's curious. There you go. Thankfully, Jess showed up to support the transmission while I started the bolts, but unfortunately, this wouldn't be the first time we had to do that. I just realized that this flex plate on this engine is not dual drilled. This torque converter has the big pattern, and this flex plate's not drilled for that. So, off comes the transmission again. While I try to solve this, Jess is going to sand and paint the headers I bought for this. Headers come with a shipping paint on them, and they just burns off, so they've got to be scuffed up and sprayed with header paint. Yeah, I thought that looked like a tiny flex plate. Is that the 153 tooth? I bet it is. Like Corvette stuff. Unfortunately, the engine out of the truck is a 2-piece rear main seal, so we can't use the flex plate from it. Let's see what pattern we need for this. like 10-inch bolt circle. And this is smaller, whatever that means. So we either need to change torque converters or get the right flex plate. I've got one on the way tomorrow that has the big pattern. The only thing left to do tonight is paint headers. Wow, they look exactly the same. What a shocking difference this is.
Yes.
Wow.
Stark contrast. Doing such an important job.
Got the right flex plate, I think. It fits the torque converter at least. Well, let's get this baby installed. Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. Oops. Our starter's not going to work with that. Yeah, that's not going to play ball for sure. Let me pull the starter off. Glad I looked. I ordered a mini starter that's got 4 bolt holes so you can move it out more to clear this flex plate. There we go. Yeah, now it fits. We're just going to hit them with a torque wrench and make sure they're all at 60 pounds. That one's good. That's good. That one was not good. And that's why we check. Right there. We can do the no-no thing. There, don't ever do that. Don't ever suck the bell housing up with a bolt. That's a bad idea. See, one of the comments in the last video, there's some Russian guy in Russian. I had to translate it.
Oh, what did it say?
It said, that you have found woman who will bring you ammo when time get bad.
Oh, dang right. I can make ammo too. That is like the best compliment ever.
Getting torque converter bolts started, right? Well, look at this. Torque converter totally seated. Man, there's like ½ an inch of gap there. That's not good. So we're going to put a couple of washers in between here. 2 washers for each bolt. And that's going to help make sure that torque converter remains seated in the transmission. It's probably just a slight difference between this clearly aftermarket converter and a new aftermarket cheapy flex plate. It is installed correctly, by the way. Save your comments. There. Now, with 2 washers in there, you can see we've got, oh, maybe a 1/16 of an inch to pull up out of the transmission, and that's closer to what you want. I've ran enough of these wrong to know that they're pretty tolerable. You're probably not going to hurt anything, but better safe than sorry, right? By the way, my friends, before we get this thing shoved in the truck, go to polebarnmerch.com and snag you one of our sweet Hawaiian shirts here. Yes, pre-order only, limited time run. We do these runs like twice a year. They cost too much for us to stock. Like if we had any leftover stock, we'd lose our ass, right? So you got to pre-order them. They'll ship out sometime in May. polebarnmerch.com. Get yours while you can. I think the next run won't be until November or December, so get them now. She is. You know, I'm not the world's biggest Chevy guy. In fact, I don't even think I own any other small blocks. Can't argue with the easy mode of it. I gotta hook up that drive shaft before we do anything and get the transmission cross member attached. I figured it would be easier to attach this again with everything kind of loose and movable. So if I lower the trans like that, it will just position, yes, the yoke where we need it, roughly. Install our caps, and then jack it back up, and it'll pop together, and then we don't have to touch the carrier bearing. That's the whole goal here. Yes, it's working. I don't have my third hand available, otherwise I would show the process, but as you can see, the caps are going in, and if I let go, it's going to be a mess, though. So let me continue jacking. Not jacking. Let me continue raising the transmission. Now it's in place. Keep raising. Oh yeah. Now we can bolt it up. Life hack. Squarebody stuff. I think this actually went together a lot easier without that yoke having all the play in it from that bolt that wasn't in there. I gotta get the cross member installed. I really should have cleaned this, but I'm not patient enough. We want to bolt the transmission mount on first, and then we can get all the rest of our bolts in. But that'll kind of help align everything, I think. Something like that. Ish. Everything is very ish when you work on an old car. Don't ever think that it's not. Like, there is literally no such thing as precision in any of these old vehicles. Things are kind of, you gotta bend and twist and yank and pull on things. That is the way they were designed. When you're assembling anything on an old vehicle, I want you to think of it like IKEA furniture. Leave all pieces loose until every bolt is in. Then you can tighten things. Everything underneath the truck is now buttoned up, including the shifter and everything. So I think the next step here is probably to get the headers on. And these are Summit Racing brand, just, cheapy headers. This one might go in from the top. Yep. Well, I wasn't planning on just shoving that in there, but it worked, so. Well, this one sure fits nice. Damn. I hope the other side fits as good as this one. Now I'm going to take the easy win while I can. And we're going to make a really critical mistake and just use all the gaskets and bolts that the cheap headers come with. You at home, maybe don't do that, but we'll get some life out of them anyway. Now, very, very slowly bolt this header on, and then we'll go to the side that's probably going to be a massive problem. Will this one slide in from the top? Almost. No way. Wow. These are some excellent fitting headers, at least so far. Okay, now I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. What's the catch? Because it don't even run into the shifter linkage. I mean, I guess granted, I don't know if I've ever actually put a set of headers on a two-wheel drive Squarebody. I know on a 4x4 they can get a little tight and hairy, but these are probably the best fitting headers I've ever purchased. And they were by far the cheapest. Let us install the fuel pump from the old engine. May as well try and get our accessories installed here. Start with lower pulley, alternator, and we will have to fabricate a power steering pump bracket for it. So I'll catch up with you there. And so here's the problem with the power steering pump, right? We can use all of that bracketry, but with headers, you always end up having to make something to support this back stud here. So here's the factory bracket, and that would have originally sat, I don't know, somewhere out here. That would have sat on top of the manifold. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking we may be able to more or less just use this as it was if we just trim off this side of it. So maybe we could still bolt it to the head, but we will never be able to bolt it here, but we might be able to still use this one. And that would be an easy way to do it that could theoretically still accept a AC compressor later. Allow me to delete this with surgical precision. Yeah, I think this will work. So we'll have to pull this header bolt out, and then this will line up with it. We'll have to put a spacer in between it. That way the header's still secured. But I think that's a reasonable way to do it, and then when the time comes down the road, if I decide to get the air conditioning going, at least we'll be able to just bolt a factory compressor on. I just made a little spacer out of part of a shock. I think that's what that is for the bushing of a shock. And I think it's just about right. I just ground it down a little till it fit. It's still very hot. Now And I also have to be very careful when I thread that in to make sure it's totally straight, because they're aluminum cylinder heads, and they're a little more picky than a cast iron one. Actually worked out really well. Cool. Let's get some belts on it. And the fan. Speaking of the fan, I thought that fan clutch was a little bit weak, so I grabbed a new one. If you could change your socks, you can probably change a fan clutch. 4 bolts. Aha! Aha! Put the bolts back in and use the supplied new lock washers just in case, because you really don't want that to come off at RPM. That would suck. But here's the important part that the instructions won't tell you. See all the old lock washers that probably aren't any good anymore? What you're going to want to do, go to your drawer full of washers and bolts and stuff, and then put them in there. That way you end up using them on something in the future. And remember, even if you didn't make it any better, you made it shinier. And that's pretty much the same thing. Fan shroud in. Then we can put our radiator in. Oh, damn it. How? I know I drained that. God. Anyway, there's the radiator. Next up, we got to put plug wires on this thing, and unfortunately this truck had quite a few of them with straight boots on them, and those aren't going to get along with headers very well. But some of them have 90s, and some of the ones from that Corvette have 90s. I'm going to engage my cheap ass here, and we'll just cobble together a set of wires that won't melt, hopefully. I'm not super happy with these. I ended up with like 7 wires that are all 10 feet long, you know. So I did order a set of custom fit wires, but they're not going to be here anytime soon. This will work, and they're not going to melt, but it just looks dumb, and I don't like it. My next big problem here is what do we want to do for a carb? This is the Holly that was on the Corvette, and I think it ran pretty good. And the truck had this Edelbrock on it, which didn't run too awful bad, but I'm sure it could use a going through. And then I also have this AVS2 that I had on a car that sucked up some trash into it, and I think it probably just needs cleaned out and it would be good to go. I just took that AVS2 apart real quick. I didn't have a kit on hand. I was thinking, oh, it's new enough, I could probably save the gasket. No. But not only that, this thing needs to go through an ultrasonic cleaner. What in the hell? What did I do with this? I don't even know what I did to it. We'll just throw that Edelbrock back on it and see what that does. Let's go ahead and just bolt on some more plenum volume, since we got the carb stud for it. A carb spacer's worth like 10 horsepower or something like that, according to Engine Masters. I don't think this thing ever had full throttle, and not really that it ever mattered, because it wouldn't have made a whole lot of difference, but this is the cheapy, you know, O'Reilly throttle bracket it had on it. And they're non-adjustable. So I have this cheapy throttle bracket that was on the Corvette, and it is adjustable. You can adjust where the cable locks in, and it has this handy little set screw here. You tighten up against the base of the carb, and then it doesn't wiggle around on you. I think everything's pretty well buttoned up here for now. We're still waiting on a starter. Now, I ordered a mini starter, thinking that the headers would be an issue, but they're really not. There's plenty of room down there for a full-size starter, but I already bought it, so I think I'm going to wait for that to show up, and then we'll put that on and we'll be done with the engine. In the meantime, we could put some exhaust on it. I bought one of those DIY, you know, it supposedly fits the truck exhaust kits. It was really cheap. It was like $160 from Summit. I think it's Dynamax. I don't know. Anyway, it's just the tube. I've had these chambered Speedway mufflers laying around for a while, so we'll just throw them on it. I wasted about 30 minutes trying to make this Dynamax exhaust kit fit the truck, but when you tried to bolt it to the headers, it just ran straight into the ground. So I gave up on that and came up with another plan. Well, that exhaust kit I bought isn't really gonna work, but I did have one of those kits full of just random bins and pipe and stuff. It's closer. Now, I'll have to weld it, but well, that's okay. I can probably do it. Let me figure something out here and I'll show you my idea once it's all tacked up. It should be obvious that I have no idea what I'm doing, so it's time for exhaust making montage. I would tell you what I'm doing, but I really don't know. I'm just eyeballing and trimming this stuff till it looks like it might work. So here's what we got. Everything just kind of mocked up, and this kicks it over. We got whatever angle that bend is, and whatever angle this bend is, and well, and then whatever angle this bend is, and then it kind of looks right. Yeah, I'm a pro. Yeah. Alright, I kind of like where it's at, so I'm just going to tack it, then we'll pull it back out, and I should be able to weld it, maybe. Now we got it out of the truck, now I can at least stand a chance at getting it welded up. And I could clamp it together, but shit, I'd have to go buy $70 worth of clamps. I think this is better. Weird. Whoa, shit, that's an oil fire. There we go. I got it drowned. You could say I'm a fabricator, you know. It's fine. It'll be better than no exhaust. Let's look on the bright side. There we go. Holy sh! It ain't supposed to go that far in, I don't think. In the interest of damage control, we'll try to use a few clamps here and there. Because not that my welding's not great, but, well, you know, it isn't. I'm pretty sure I can hang the whole mess off of a turn down I put on the end. Use a cheap generic hanger. And we'll just have to make a turn down out of the pipe I've got here. And I don't know, if I cut it like right there, right? Doesn't that become a turn down? Perfection. Am I right, or am I an idiot? To call this absurdly ghetto, I think that would be too high of a compliment, actually. But I believe it will be functional, and that's more than we had before. I'm reasonably proud of this part, kicking it up over that. I'm actually kind of happy with it. I think I learned a few things for once. As usual, I just kind of gave up back here, so allow me to continue to care less and less and less as we do this side next. I was hoping this side would be a little easier, but it's not. This header angles down just enough that I can't just run straight back, so I made another little kick up over the cross member. I think I'm learning here, guys. Really, like, I've never done this before, not once in my life. I'm getting there. I mean, I got a long ways to go, I understand, but at least this part, I'm getting somewhere here. Looking for genuine criticism here. What do you think about the little bit of exhaust work I've done here? Flux core welder because my regulator's broken for the gas, but you know, take that into consideration. But I'm genuinely interested. You guys have seen me do a lot on the channel. Do you think I've improved, or am I just hopeless? I'm not looking for criticism from Bob the couch potato who hasn't touched a car ever, but I know a lot of you guys are genuinely good at what you do, and I do appreciate the commentary. Okay, what do you think? Remember, flux core. What do you think? I don't know. I mean, I think it's sealed, and I don't think it's going to fall off, and in my book, that's pretty much good enough, right? More or less parallel, right? And just a little hump. I don't know. Shoot. You can buy, not this kit. This kit sucks. That's junk, Dynamax. But the random bends and lengths of pipe and stuff, dude, the whole kit was like $200, but there's enough here to do maybe 1.5 or 2 cars. Assuming all you want to do is dump it, but That's what I do most of the time anyway, so shoot. I might be able to start doing some exhaust work. Yep, and there's dual pipes in there. My new starter showed up. Let's throw this little guy on. This is a Power Master Power Max. These are made in USA, and they cost about $11 more than a Chinese one. I highly, highly recommend these. I popped the starter on there, and it was relatively painless-ish. Let me dump some coolant in here so we don't fire it up dry in the water pump. Get this filled up, and then I've got my timing light ready to go. Let's see if this thing kicks off. Fill the bowls on the carb. Try to give it a little head start. Okay, so that's pretty good, but I don't have a gas pedal for some reason. Why don't I have a gas pedal? The cable fell off the pedal. No big deal. Let's try again. Carburetor's super good. I probably ought to get a kit for that. Already runs better than it did though. Keeps running out of fuel. I can't time it. We'll have to time it by ear. Pounds oil pressure, no temp yet. My exhaust is kind of rattly, but it works, I guess. I put a 160 thermostat in it, and it's just hanging right there. That exhaust is terrible and rattly. We may need someone who knows what the hell they're doing to do that. But pretty stout. Since we have to time it by ear, we'll just see if it talks to us. No diesel. Seems fine to me. I'll lock it down right there. This is a lot quieter than it was with the leaky everything.
Yeah, it sounds a lot better.
We've effectively quadrupled the horsepower of this. From about 50 to 200. I gotta say, that thing runs phenomenal, actually. And the carburetor's kind of, but it'll definitely get the job done for now. Maybe we drive it around, maybe we'll clear it out now that it actually has an engine to pull air through it. I think tomorrow we'll throw the hood on it, and then we'll go drive it around some, and we'll see if we've really improved it. Do you need any mulch?
I can always use mulch.
Alright, we'll fill the whole thing with mulch.
As long as I don't have to shovel gravel out again.
Yeah, so that's kind of how this all started, actually, is we put 2 yards of gravel in the bed of it, right? And it, after hauling that old motor, it fouled, I mean, I haven't pulled the plugs out of it, but I could just tell, I mean, it was burning oil even worse. It accelerated its demise. Well, this won't match anything at all, but we could put a nicer air cleaner lid on it. There. Chevrolet. Change of plans. We're not getting any mulch. We've had a hell of a storm come through here, and I think I'm gonna have to rebuild this roof. So how about we take the truck up and go get some lumber and tin, and you guys are just gonna have to understand that I'm gonna need some time to do that. Okay, so you know, if the next video is pushed back a day or two, that's why. However, I will film it and put it on the second channel outside the barn. Make sure you follow that as well. But that said, let's get the hood on this thing, and then we'll go drive up to Home Depot and go get some lumber.
If I drop this hood, don't put it on film.
Yeah, that probably would have killed Jens.
Oh gosh. Well, damn, that's pretty damn close.
See how it does. It's a rainy, crappy day, so we better go get some wiper blades because these are pretty trashed. Yeah, those ain't gonna cut it.
No, not at all.
Shit. It's kind of fast.
Not shabby at all.
No.
Oh, yes.
It's a gutsy little thing. I can't see, otherwise I can get on it. But,
Yeah.
you know, that carburetor's pretty iff. Like, it's kind of cutting in and out. I'll grab a kit for it while we're at O'Reilly.
Yeah.
It died.
Oh. Oh.
It's fine. It's just that carburetor. Something's plugged up in it, and it's not running. It's only running on the accelerator pump most of the time. That's what it sounds like. I think something clogged. Okay. Yeah, that's what it was doing last night after that carburetor sat in the bed for a little while. Like something in the Venturis is plugged. Freaking O'Reilly doesn't have a carb kit for it here right now anyway. So I'll try to make it happy again. We'll put some berryman down in there. Maybe. And then I'll do the good old rev it up and snuff it out with my hand thing to try to clear those Venturis. This is the exhilarating content people come here to see. Changing wiper blades. No, these are the shit ones. They didn't have any carb kits, but they did have 14x3 air cleaners on sale for $3. And that one's pretty gross, so we'll change that out. But before I do that, let me pop this off and see if I can't work some magic. Sometimes the air bleeds get stuck too. Crank them in all the way, and it'll push dirt out the back of them. Worth a shot. I've magically fixed the carburetor. It didn't run like that before. It had to just varnished or something, just sit, you know. It's much better now. So hopefully we just drive it and it'll clear up. I'll throw a kit in it, you know, at some point. You see a lot? Hey, at least it's got balls now.
Yeah, it really does.
I mean, it's a lot better than it was.
Yeah.
She came back down to an idle, no problem. Let's take her onto the highway, see what it does. I mean, I wish it wasn't raining so I could really see what it will do. But, well, we could sound cool as we get on the on-ramp anyway. Just blowing that one wheel right off on the rain. That's okay though, truck. And just for especially young guys who think you need an overdrive to drive anywhere, this truck has 411 gears. I'm doing 70 miles an hour in the rain with one hand on the wheel. It's totally fine. It's pulling 3,100 RPM. You know, there goes that wiper blade. I told you those were shit. What me?
Nope, I don't know what you're talking about.
This thing actually drives wonderfully down the highway. We haven't had it on any like out-of-town trips yet because of the engine. Boy, it's actually really nice. I would have drove this every day to work.
I'll have to film out your side.
I can see fine.
Yeah.
We got to go to the manly truck side of the Home Depot, the lumber yard. It's on account of I'm doing manly carpentry things and lumber. Lots of lumber. Well, I don't own one of these. I better get me a circular saw and a blade. I don't know how to use this stuff. So hang on, it's 40 foot and this is about 2 feet. So we need 20 of them. Yeah. That'll work really good for the bins we gotta make. You need those things.
Yeah.
On account of I'm a construction man. See my hammer?
Nice hammer.
I don't own a carpentry hammer. I never have. That'll be my first. I think that's a framing hammer, not a carpentry hammer. Just shut up. Oh, great.
It's so much peppier.
I know.
I've been sitting it flailing across the parking lot.
So, you know, the cool thing about a real truck, you have an 8-foot bed.
Yes.
It never has to be made.
Yeah,
And,
I like that.
Good thing about an 8-foot bed is it'll fit pretty much all your common construction materials, which I know about because I am Bob the Builder. Look at that. No trailer required. Look at all of the stuff you can foot in an old truck versus a new truck. It's crazy. It's like it's not meant to drive around the mall. This thing's pretty cool, man.
It's peppy now.
It's a tough old truck.
Really?
We got stuff.
Lots of stuff.
Unfortunately, it's not a 10-foot bed, so you do got to angle in the tenors in the back. It's not bad for a full-size 3/4 ton truck. This would give any 5.3 half-ton truck a good run for its money, and it cost me like $200. I mean, come on. Culver's for lunch. Let's see if it makes it home. Just about home. That was about 25 miles round trip. No problems. I mean, other than the problems, but really not anything I'm worried about at all. What I have determined is that while we do have plenty of trucks that can do this and haul some cargo, this truck would haul the cargo faster than the other truck. So this is our expedited delivery truck. It's fantastic. Yeah, we can just pull the whole thing in here. That'll keep the wood dry at least. Yeah. I guess that does it on the engine swap. We got Corvette motor in our truck. Just like every redneck who says that. Except for this one's legit. And, you know, look, it's not the fastest thing in the world, but it's a hell of a lot better than a totally dead 350. And frankly, it's quite a bit better than what the truck originally would have had. I have nothing to be disappointed about. I'll go through that carburetor and they get the kit in at, I don't know, a couple hours, I think. I think the rain's going to stop tomorrow and I better get to build me a roof. Then I better... Okay, I'll practice over there. And then I'll work on this one. If I get real good at it, then maybe we can fix this roof. Which I have a tarp on it, so it doesn't leak right now, but I'd like to not have a tarp on it, obviously. I am not even joking, guys. Like, I've built, like, a couple of things. I built a shed once. It's terrible.
You made these doors.
I did do that. They're terrible. So, yeah, so, I mean, look, it's going to be a cluster. I need you to really go, to polebarnmerch.com. You know how much this stuff is? $1,000 almost for everything I bought here, including the circular saw and blades and stuff, but $1,000 for hopefully enough wood to do that. That's crazy. But go to polebarnmerch.com, please, and pick you up a hoodie or a hat. It's getting to be wife beater season, so we should have those in stock pretty soon. And also, please check out the second channel, Outside the Barn. If you go over there, you'll see all kinds of things. Some car stuff, some whatever stuff. But, you know, you'll see me ruining this. Then probably have to call in someone who knows what the hell they're doing. But we'll see you guys next time on Pole Barn Garage.